There you go. Hey, welcome back to Living Lightly. Today's project is a barrel wood burner hot water heater. All right, so first, you're shaking.
I'm trying to hold still.
All right, check it out. Got a barrel, $5 for the barrel. It was in very good shape. $45 for the conversion kit, which included, the door and I don't know what we call it, like a flue collar, I guess we'll call it. Oh, and the feet. It's got feet. On the inside, what I added is you need a grate, because if you put your fire directly on the steel, over time it'll ruin it, burn through. So keeping a layer of ash, some kind of grate on there to keep the actual fire from the log, and the gases that are being released from the log, can put a hole right through your barrel in probably one season. So put another layer of steel on there and keep your ash nice and high. What'll also happen is the steel pipes that I put on here that run water through them, heat up from the fire, and I put them up in that tank right in there, and that goes into the house and we take a shower with it. But that's about application. We'll talk about a little bit about what's happening here. You might ask why I put the joints on the outside and not the inside. Well, you can't really build it on the inside and tighten everything up. It just made a lot more sense to keep it on the outside. The barrel was 3 feet, and the pipes stuck out 1 inch on either end. It was like a 3-foot, standard size I was able to get at the hardware store, and it stuck out just on the end, so the threads were on the outside, perfect size. So cut holes in the barrel and just used one of these tools to do it. And the spacing of the holes, I just took 2 90 degrees and a couple of small pieces. I put this part together and then measured it right there and drew a circle, where I want the holes to be. So I had to have each one, with the same amount of thread turning, or it wouldn't fit. So I had to be aware of that. Crank these things on as tight as I could get them. I did not use the plumber's tape because of the heat. I figured it would just burn it up. So I had to crank this on as tight as I can get it. It does drip just a little bit when it's heated up, in a few places, but I'm okay with that because I put this outside and, it drips. It's the tank, evaporates. It's not a problem. I chose to do it like in this zigzag pattern. So if you want to get around on the inside,
And you can still show a slide of that. The slide of the picture you took.
Okay. A little side note about welding. I didn't do any welding or soldering on this. Your solders would melt right off. The heat that this thing produces is hotter than most solders, so you may skip the soldering. And welding, you have to be careful. This is what I think is galvanized pipe, so it's zinc coated, and then it'll release toxic fumes. Luckily I'm not a welder, so I don't have to deal with it. But if you are going to attempt welding, be very careful about fumes. And I really did not have a need at all to weld. The spaces that, and the little gaps around the pipes are okay. They let air in, and it helps the fire go. So it's not a problem. There's a couple that didn't quite fit just right, and I got a Dremel tool and widened up, you know, that space just a little bit, and then it fit in. So I had to fight with it a little bit to get him in. So I had to go, you know, step by step. I started at one end, and then each step, you know, went all the way around. A couple things I would have done differently. I just started with the mind of having the inlet and the outlet up front, and that was a mistake. What I needed is the inlet and the outlet in the back where I wasn't working. So if I had, at first I had pipes coming right out here. They're kind of getting in the way. You know, I'm gonna bump something, crack it. You know, I just needed this out of the way. So I can load fire here and then around back. Should have been my inlet and my outlet, right? Since I did it around the front, I added, you know, these pipes around here. And this is galvanized steel. I just painted it copper for looks. It's not a copper pipe. So the water comes in one end, through the pipes, out the other end. This is not a pressurized system. Where this is going is into a tank that is not pressurized. I'm a little bit reluctant, I'm very reluctant to start having pressurized systems that are heated by fire or solar or by sun, because you just don't know the temps, and the steam and the heat that builds up is going to always fluctuate. So an open-end system is a heck of a lot safer. But just in case pressure built up in here, I did put relief valves on both sides, because there's a lot of yards of galvanized steel before it gets into the open tank. So just in case, that's another safety measure. The pipe itself is rated for, I think, 220 psi. The pressure valve is 75 psi. So there's very, very, very little chance that pressure is going to build up in the pipe to the point where it doesn't get released by either through the open tank or through this pressure valve. I put this old stack on here. It kind of helps keep it looking pretty cool. The only thing we have to worry about is having a spark arrestor, and I haven't seen any sparks. I've had probably 5 fires in it so far, and no sparks are coming out. And the hope is that we create a fire brick, and that we're able to make a fire brick out of like sawdust and dryer lint, and make fire, and just have one fire that goes, you know, that goes up real quick, heats the water real quick, and then goes out. So let's talk a little bit about the applications. What I'm using it for is I take my natural rainwater. It's stored in barrels, and I take that rainwater. It's filtered with carbon filters and some sediment filters. Run it through here. It heats up. I send it into a batch water heater. So that is an old water heater tank that's stripped down to the core, painted black, and encased in, I don't know, whatever that material, you know, that glazed material. So that acts like a little hothouse up there. So in the summertime, just the sun alone is going to heat that up. But in the winter, it hasn't performed well at all. So for winter time, I need some fire. I live in Indiana, so there's plenty of wood around, and we take salvaged wood that's being cut down by tree trimmers, and we use that to heat the house. And now a second source is to heat this water, put it in the tank. The heat doesn't get sustained up there all that well. It's outside, but take a shower quick, and it is a nice steamy shower. So yeah, one more point about it being not a pressurized system, but an open system. The water is being pumped in, so there is some pressure pushing in from a shallow storage tanks. A shallow well system, pressure tank, pushes the water in. It goes up into that tank, and that tank is, well, it's open on the top, not the whole thing open, but there's a couple of the nozzles that are in a normal hot water heater. All that hardware has been removed, and there's just that 1-inch hole with the threads, and a 1/2-inch pipe is going down into the bottom of that tank. And so any pressure that builds up there can easily escape, and any overflow. So if I just leave the water on and I forget about it and it just keeps flowing through, it's not a big deal, because I have one more pipe where the relief valve was on the water tank. The original relief valve is now just a tube that shoots out from there onto the roof of the house. So you get any overflow goes out into the roof of the house, goes into the gutter, goes down the gutter, and back into through the filters and back into the storage tanks. So it's this big circular system. So if I accidentally let the water overflow, I don't lose anything. It goes back into the tanks. Okay. And more applications of this. This isn't like the application of this. There's a lot of things you can do with it. This is more just the concept. This would probably be really ideal in like a hydroponics greenhouse. So it would heat the greenhouse, and this would be great in your house if you were, in a garage, if you were heating, some kind of warehouse. Man, this would be the thing. If you had a business that you were using a lot of hot water, and had a crazy high hot water bill, this would be a great system to use for that, because the downsides of this, I'm realizing, I'm like, man, I wish I had configured it in a way to where I have another valve on there that is a drain valve, but I worry about pipes freezing in the winter. If there's water reservoirs in here, I'm worried about what's going to happen there, so that's something to be aware of. If this was in a hydroponics greenhouse, man, that would probably be the ultimate use for it. Or if it were in your warehouse that was maybe heated at room temperature and you needed to heat hot water, great. This wouldn't fit in my house. What would be great if I use this concept on the wood burner I already have, but it's a very expensive, nice wood burner in my house, and I don't want to drill a bunch of holes in it and put pipes in it and have a little bit of extra smoke coming out. Not really what I want. But this concept, take it and try and find a way that you can apply it in your situation. All right, while I'm getting this fire started, check out some photos and some videos of my first test on this and see how it went. And most important, I got to give credit to Rippleber. I mean, I did not invent this. So he had a great, so I took his design. He did a fantastic job and inspired me to take this and create this for myself. So go check out his as well. The only difference I think I did was I fit in some more pipes by making it, a zigzag formation, which ultimately I don't know if that was great, because now I might get water trapped in there. So yeah, I put a link to his video in the description. So definitely go and check out his video and watch a few other photos while I'm getting this lit. All right, here is the barrel furnace. Here's I'm burning all the paint off. Here is the first test. I'm just gonna put some water through it. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh. I think it heats up water just fine. All right, now let me show you what happens when projects go sideways. Got the fire going. What in the heck is making it make that noise? That is maybe a 60-gallon tank. with some steaming hot water going into it. And it's snap, crackling, and popping, making all the neighbors wonder what is going on over here. Okay, so now here we are inside in the bathroom, and let's see, here's where the rainwater is pushed in, goes down. Here's a valve. This takes it down outside and through that boiler. It comes back in from outside into that shower head, or this spigot by the sink. This is my conventional water. This is my rainwater. And over here, this is my conventional water, city water, and this is my shower water, my rainwater. All right, so what I'm going to do now is turn on the valve, and I'm going to turn it on slowly because I don't want to rush. There's hot pipes and a rush of cold water going into them. Have a steam explosion, something. So I'll just let a little bit of water in. Gonna wait for that tank to fill up a little bit. Then we're gonna take some of that water that's run through the heater, run through the fire, and fill up that cup, take a temperature. Gonna let it run for a minute because there's probably 12 feet of pipe, before you start drawing from the tank. So that water's been sitting outside for a minute, and it's still pretty warm. There you have it. It's a nice, that's perfect shower water. Okay, so there you have it, a rainwater, fire heated shower. I used no public utilities. Everything was off grid. So this is a great application for maybe a cabin out in the middle of nowhere, maybe a pool, outdoor hot tub. That's perfect application. So thanks for checking out the wood heated rainwater shower, and subscribe to my YouTube, which is Living Lightly, or visit my Facebook page, like that page, which is facebook.com/Urban Off Grid. Until next project, keep living lightly.